Thanks for listening. This is Brian Hurley from Business Performance Improvement. The podcast Lean Six Sigma Bursts are short lessons, comments, Q&A, and insights. If you have a question, send your question through the Anchor app, and we might feature you on a future episode. Or contact me at biz-pi.com. One of the areas that isn't discussed as much in process improvement is around getting people to change their behaviors. One of the models I really like is called the influencer model. It's basically composed of 6 sources of influence, and you look at each of those 6 categories and you try to pick at least 4 of the 6 to implement. And if you do that well, there's a really good chance that the behavior change is going to stick. And so what you're looking for is a couple different ways of approaching the behavior change. Oftentimes people just do a little training, or they say, this is really important, you need to do this, or we're going to penalize you or give you a reward if you do that. But it's the combination of multiple approaches, because not everything works for every person. And if you can build up 4 of the 6 categories, then that will work. I learned about this and started practicing this back when I was working on a campaign for getting people to bring their own coffee cup to a coffee shop to reduce the number of disposable coffee cups. Today, what I think about is the idea around wearing masks for prevention of COVID. I've written an article about this on my website, and I'll link to that in the show notes, where you can read the details, and I go through and give a lot of more explanations and examples of each of the categories, but I did want to cover it right here. So the first thing is to look at personal motivation. That is where you are kind of appealing to people about the science and the need for this and the importance of doing the right things, of wearing the mask. The personal ability is the second category, where you're actually teaching people how to use the mask, how to tighten it, where to put it over your mouth, things like that, how to remove it. The third piece is social motivation, which is where you're garnishing peer pressure to help you sell the idea. And so other people are doing it, and they're holding each other accountable. Fourth element is, where do the people turn to when there's questions? Do they have an expertise they can go to, someone they can reach out to? Or is there a website or resource material that they can go find if they get stuck or have questions? Fifth one is structural motivation. This is where you're designing rewards and recognition or goals, and you're holding people accountable either through the stick method of they're going to get in trouble, or with the carrot, where you're incentivizing or recognizing people doing the right thing. And the last one is structural ability, which is changing the environment so that it's easy to do the right thing and it's hard not to do the right thing. So you make the masks very convenient and they're easily accessible. And as much as possible, it's hard to not put it on the way you've set up your processes. And that can be physically changing the work area as well. So those are the 6 categories I think about with any kind of behavior change. And almost any improvement project I've been involved with, it requires some amount of behavior change. So this is something that I think should be more taught, or at least some of these methods considered in our improvements. We often think that just the data or involvement in people is going to be enough, and often it is, but sometimes we need to go a little bit further and think about what are the ways we can mistake-proof and incentivize and align and gain support from others, and really train and educate people on why we're doing these things. And all those things are elements of this influencer model. So check out the article if you want to read more. And you can also see my presentation that I gave around the coffee cups and those 6 areas. You'll also see a cute little video of kids washing their hands where they explain this influencer model. So if you have any questions about behavior changes, send us a message through the app. You can leave a voice message and I'll pick one of the questions and maybe you'll hear it on a future episode. Thanks. Lean6sigmadefinition.com has a list of glossary items about popular process improvement terms, along with the history of Lean and Six Sigma methods, and key influencers like Dr. Edward Stemming, Henry Ford, Taiichi Ohno, Shigeo Shingo, and many more. You can also learn how to access affordable Lean and Six Sigma training and certification. Visit Lean6sigmadefinition.com.